And welcome back to another update, everybody. It's been 2 months since I started with oral minoxidil for hair loss prevention. Not only that, but also thickening my existing hair, improving the quality of my transplanted hair, and also making the speed of the hair growth faster. I'm gonna dive into that in a minute. Please don't see this video as a personal recommendation per se, but mainly like my experience on side effect and benefits of this medication, and then decide whether it's worth for you to take it or not. Consult with your doctor. Read and listen to as many of these types of experiences as possible online and then decide, okay? So with that being said, let's start. And as always, shout out to our sponsor, GoFiber, guys. These are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out. See if you like them. So here's how this video will go. First, I'm going to talk about the side effects and then benefits of oral minoxidil medication I was able to encounter over the last 2 months. If you didn't watch my first month update, check it out. Side effects, I decided to kind of split between neutral, positive and negative ones. So let's start with the neutral side effects. It was mainly hair growth on the nape area right here, okay? These are the hairs that your barber usually is shaving off because they're looking wispy and there are many of them and it just doesn't look nice. So I got even more of them, okay, while I'm on oral minoxidil. Also, funny enough, hairs literally are growing also here. Elongation of hair on my fingers, here on the knuckles. Literally, this is growing much faster and I never had so much hair here. The chest hair is the same, the hair on my abs is the same. Fortunately, also no more hair growth on my shoulders and back. That's something I wouldn't want, and so far I'm not getting it, so I'm happy about that. So neutral side effects, really not so bad. Now the negative side effect I was able to encounter was also like the, not necessarily chest tightness, but I was able to observe somewhat sharp pain in the chest area right here. It happened twice over the last 2 months. Now this side effect occurred right after I took the minoxidil once, and I might have used a little bit more than usual. Normally I try to take 1.25 milligram per day, but this time I probably have used 1.5 to 2 milligrams, and I really experienced this somewhat sharp pain in here, you know, for maybe 2-3 seconds, then it stopped, then it kept coming back for maybe 2-3 seconds again over like a 1 minute period. So it happened all of that in 1 minute and then I never had it. And overall it happened twice in a month. Okay, so that's the frequency of that side effect. Now to better describe you how this pain felt was like you're working, you're doing your stuff and then suddenly you feel something in your chest and you don't really know what that is. But it's also not that intense for you to stop working. So you just keep going and then it stops after a while. Now I think my theory is that because the concentration of the minoxidil, if you take it orally, is going to be highest within the first hour, you know, it peaks in the first hour of the intake, it makes sense that you experience this type of side effect, and obviously it's going to be also dose dependent. So the higher your dose, the more likely probably is that you will experience this sharp type of pain. But it also can be the type of side effect that you experience in the first month or two and then you never experience it again. Because we also know that some side effects are to be experienced also with other medications like finasteride, etc., that you experience in the first couple weeks and then you just keep taking the medication and then you never hear of them again. Now, as far as other side effects like palpitations of my heart, water retention, hands and leg swelling, edema, you know, prolonged persistent chest tightness or dizziness or tiredness, I have not experienced that. And now let's come maybe to some positive side effects. The positive side effect would be obviously that my beard feels just much more thicker, okay, just like abrasive paper, okay. I never had such a thick and sharp beards. I also have to say that I don't have more beard hair growth necessarily. It's the same density. It's just looking a little bit sharper, maybe a bit thicker visually, but hard to say. I think that was it for the side effects, really. I am happy with the dosing that I'm currently having, like 1.5 milligram per day to 2 milligrams. And that's something that I would like myself to kind of establish. Now let's talk about some benefits oral minoxidil was able to give me in the last 2 months. I would say hair quality improvement, not just on my existing hair, but also on my transplanted hair, especially when I'm not shampooing my hair, let's say for 2-3 days, which I'm not normally doing. I usually shampoo it every other day, but when I wait a little bit longer, normally my hair would already look a little bit drawn down and dry and flat. But this time it retains a nicer thickness and shape for a little bit longer, and that's how I noticed that, hey, actually my transplanted hair looks actually better, and also existing hair, probably thanks to this guy. So that's how I noticed that the hair just looks a little bit thicker and just better, creates better volume and fullness. That's what I'm noticing, obviously also on the sides and here and back. When I'm, you know, kind of doing this, I feel like it's also kind of harder here, okay? It almost feels like when I had no transplants and my donor looked full and it just felt so thick and nice. That's the feeling that I'm having right now. Obviously, I already had some transplants done, so it's kind of depleted actually, but I feel like it's kind of full thanks to this. That's the thing that I'm noticing. Obviously, I'm noticing faster hair growth as well a little bit. I'm kind of also cutting the sides and back a little bit more frequently right now because of that. As far as hair shedding, I didn't have any massive shed from this because I started with a new topical. It was RU 58841. And it was in the spring. I started applying it with the stimulation, and I actually got some shedding from this. And that is the reason why that is the reason why oral minoxidil wasn't able to induce that more shedding. Because if you start the same year with another medication that actually triggers that temporary telogen effluvium, chances are if you start with another medication that is known for doing that as well, just a couple months later, the shedding will not occur anymore because it has already occurred before with another type of medication. So that's just my theory. That is the reason why I really didn't have that much more shedding from it. And I am still taking the topical RU 58841, so maybe also this, you know, anti-androgen protection is kind of helping here, maybe not, but I think it's mainly because I started with another medication before that triggered already that telogen effluvium that minoxidil is normally triggering as well. I'm feeling this also kind of thicker, and it's hard for me to even feel the skin of my scalp, which normally I'm able to do on my crown, but here it looks just a little bit more fuller. Obviously just 2 months, maybe my feeling, but also if you look at it visually, it kind of looks nice, and I think I never had that fullness on my mid scalp and crown before. These areas were always diffusely thinning, so right now I really feel positive about it, and I think it's gonna look even better in next 2-3 months or so. As far as your transplanted hair, I like oral minoxidil really. The transplanted hair actually looks kind of thick and nice, and you know it in the first year usually, but then after the year or two, you notice that the transplanted hair may not look as full and thick anymore. I'm sure some of you guys kind of encountered that, because many guys I consult one-on-one come to me also with that issue partially, and they wonder why their transplanted hair is not looking as thick as in the first couple of months after the surgery. And the reason is that it kind of switches the hair cycle from anagen to telogen phase back and forth as your existing hair. But if you're not taking any stimulant for it, in particular, as you're taking for the existing hair, then the transplanted hair will likely come to the telogen phase a little bit sooner, as it should. And if you would take something like oral minoxidil, you are also prolonging the anagen phase of the transplanted hair, and thus making it look fuller and stronger and thicker for longer periods of times. And this is the reason why I actually think it's a good idea to start with that type of medication post-transplant, for also the transplanted hair protection, not just for the existing hair protection, because we always think in terms of protecting the existing hair after the transplantation to prolong its lifespan, to avoid next transplant, to preserve the donor, etc., etc. But this thing, I think it's really good for the transplanted hair as well, especially if you don't want to take finasteride, or you cannot take finasteride orally or topically. But even if you take finasteride topically, it's unlikely you will put it on your transplanted hair, right? I hope this video was valuable, and Thank you so much for your attention. That was it. If you are new, subscribe, like the video, and check out my service below where I can help you personally one-on-one with your hair issues, hair transplant, hair loss related. Thank you very much and see you next time.